A man who wants to sell a strategic national asset, give it away for at least for 30 years. On top of that, allow them to hang on onto a stake forever, is indeed a mad man. I don't know why Kenyans were expecting so much from President William Ruto, because the president has never, he has never been truthful. That is his nature.
What gives him the idea that he can do as he wishes? This is not his personal house, this is not so going. I think the president needs to stop being simplistic.
Is there a vacuum post Raila?
Play one clip where Ruto has spoken truthfully.
A very good day to you and welcome to Philip Kisia Unscripted this particular Thursday. My name is Jadiel Kabiro. It is always an honor, a joy and a privilege to have you joining us every single week. Every single week for these conversations we say we hope will help our political leaders in making better policy decisions and political moves. This month, the country has been talking about President William Ruto's 2 years in office. What has he achieved so far? There's a lot of mistrust. He promised us, together with his deputy, that they will not collide. In fact, the deputy said that no one suffers from inferiority complex. But here we are. Are they biffing? This is my conversation today with Philip Kisia. Philip, it's always a pleasure to have you. Philip is a leadership and governance expert, former Nairobi town clerk, and it's always a joy to have him around. Philip, thanks for inviting us on this windy evening at your place.
Well, Jed, it is always my pleasure to have you here.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe some people stop me on the streets and they ask me, how is Kisia doing? Where does he get this courage from? I get this a lot, but how has your week been?
Now, Jed, it started off at a low. I was very, very depressed, and I was thinking and asking myself so many questions. What does the future lie for this country? What sort of a country are we going to leave to our children and their children? So I was very, very depressed. So I started, I can say, Jed, I said, extremely low. But I got a call from a very senior citizen of this country. Somebody who has served this country at a very high level. He comes from western part of this country, and he did encourage me. I was actually pleasantly surprised that he actually watches the program. He did indicate that, he is equally disturbed with what is happening in Kenya.
Who's this person?
For the time being, let it rest.
Yeah.
I also, let it rest.
Yeah.
But I can tell you there are people who are really concerned about how the country is being governed. And there's got another call from Father Andrew. Father Andrew is a Kenyan. He's a Catholic father. He's serving in Uganda. And he called me today and he spoke for about half an hour. The same things. He's so concerned about Kenya and how our nation, our beautiful nation, is being governed. And he did encourage me. He asked me to keep on pushing. He mentioned a few names, people like Babo, people like Sifuna, but he's worried that Sifuna could be sliding back because of the pressure that he could be getting. He mentioned people like Okio Mutata. Those are some of the few names that he picked up. And he sent his regards to all of you, including you, Jed, and your team.
Thanks.
So those are some of the things that really have brightened me, have given me hope, have actually encouraged me, have got me out of depression, because I was getting depressed about this country.
I usually like it when we start, before we even talk about our main agenda, there are some things that you usually tell us, some things that we've missed. What are your highlights for this week, so that when we start talking about Ruto at 2, at least we know everything that you have noticed this week?
Jed, it is now exactly 2 years from the time that President Ruto took an oath of office. He took an oath of office, I think, September 2 years ago. So it is exactly 2 years. But he has been in the presidency for more than 2 years, because we elected him and we assumed he took office on 8th of August. That was a transition time. But the president, in the 2 years, has actually confirmed my worst fears. He has confirmed them. There is this thing called Adani that is going on. And he is using so much energy. He appears to be so angry. He wants the thing to pass by hook or crook. Then when I was flipping through the papers, I came across a statement, and it read like this. I am not a madman. How do you sell a strategic national asset? You must be insane. That was a statement that was being quoted again in the papers, in our papers this week. But looking at the events that have happened in the last few, I think 2 or 3 weeks,
Yes.
about this Adani, he has actually confirmed that he is what he said. The president confirmed that he actually could be having a problem. You know, he was trying to run away because I think he could have his own fears. He could be, appreciating the fact, although he doesn't want to come out so clearly, but he seemed to be accepting the fact that people are doubting him. And he wants to reassure people and to reassure himself that he's not a madman. But from what has happened, the documents that we have come across, the things that have been said, including his confidence, like Kimani Ngunjiri, who has warned him not to sell our strategic asset, confirms that he could actually indeed be having a problem. He is actually what he said he is.
You have decided to remove the speed governor.
He is what he said.
We're just starting.
What he was denying, that he's not a madman, he has confirmed. Because how on earth does a president of a republic, make such a statement to the effect that nothing has happened when they have appended their signatures? Okay? When this Adani fellow has now come at the open and say, there are documents that have been signed. And if you try and run away from this particular transaction, there are consequences.
But from what we're getting, it's a 30-year deal, not like selling permanently. Why would you say that the president has sold it?
Jed, you are not even 30. You are not 30. You're in your early 20s. Do you know how long it has taken you to come to be at this stage? And President Ruto, by the time, if this thing goes through, by the time Adani is handing over, you will be a grandfather. 3 decades is not a joke. On top of that, President William Ruto is even suggesting, or he seems to agree with them, that they can have equity. They can have a stake in perpetuity forever. So it means that our children's children will miss about 18% of our asset forever, for keeps. That is a madman. A man who wants to sell a strategic national asset, give it away for at least for 30 years. On top of that, allow them to hang on onto a stake forever, is indeed a madman. Is a very madman. But anyway, Jed, I think, this, I think some of the fruits that the country is experiencing because of these sexually transmitted marriages that we went through recently. Yeah? The marriage was only between President William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. Then other people came in. Musalia came in, Wetangula followed. Now, even Raila has come to rescue. So this marriage, which is sexually transmitted marriage, a marriage of convenience, is going to create more problems for this country. And I think it is time that Kenyans said no, and a big no, to this arrangement where one man thinks he's going to rule and govern this country as if it is personal property. Kenya does not belong to a family. It has never belonged to a family. It will never belong to a family. It belongs to all the people of Kenya. And for the time being, who are about 57 million of us. But Jed, before we get into the program, there are, I think, 2 videos that I want us to start the program with. The first one is Apostle Michael. Apostle Michael is somebody I've never met, but I came across this video, and I would want you to play it, and I'm sure you can get it. You are a young man, and you are very resourceful.
Yeah.
And then the other one that actually caught me laughing, and I'm still laughing, is a prayer at State House when this broad-based government met for the first time. The prayer by His Excellency William Samoei Arap Ruto. Play those 2.
Personally, as a prophet of God and as a servant of God, I don't support him. 1, because Ruto William killed so many Kenyans in Kondele, killed so many Kenyans in Nairobi. So many Kenyans died. After this death, now Ruto and Raila sit down. Then they say work together. They are working together on top of the graves of Kenyans. They are dancing on top of the graves of Kenyans. If Raila was so serious about his patriotism for the Kenyan people, he shouldn't have joined hand with Ruto, who is a killer, a murderer, a vampire. He wouldn't have done so.
Help us, Heavenly Father, to make the right decisions for our country. We pray over our nation, for the people of Kenya, the children of Kenya. Thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed on us. Commit ourselves to your knowledge and give us the necessary wherewithal.
Why are we listening to a pastor and our president praying? Kisia, what have you brought us? Because I don't understand you today. Today you are shocking me in every statement.
No, let me see. You see, Jed, these are men of God. You are not a man of God. I'm not a man of God. These are men of God.
A man of God.
So we are supposed to listen to them.
Okay.
And when they open their mouths, we must be very keen to hear what they are saying. Apostle Michael, somebody I've never met. The man says that he's actually called President Ruto a killer, a vampire, a devil worshipper, and a man who must perish. Those are his words. They are not mine. So this apostle has really condemned Ruto. I don't know why. In fact, he has gone further to say that our president, my good friend, Samoei Arap Ruto, is dancing on the graves of our children. Then I said, I thought I was harsh. I thought I was being harsh to my president. I thought. I've always thought. But listening to Apostle Michael, I said, no, I think I'm a better devil. I am not even half of what Michael is. And I'm not saying Michael is a devil, but I'm saying Michael, Apostle, took him head on. Then there's his own prayer in prayer in State House, where he's praying for Kenya to succeed, for the people of Kenya to succeed. He's praying for divine intervention. He's praying that the government be able to communicate properly to the people. Then I said, what a mockery. What a mockery. What a mockery to God. Because he is government. The things that the government is doing, his own government, where he's the captain, are the opposite, complete opposite. They have only succeeded in corruption. They are baiting corruption. And when he talks about fighting corruption, you know, it is in half a tongue. He doesn't come out strongly. The way he doesn't come out so strongly the way he's pushing Adani. I wish he was as half strong. Then he talks about, working together as a team. Yet he's fighting Rigathi Gachagua, using his bulldogs. I mean, I look at my president and say, I mean, this guy deserves, when you're acting,
Oscar
an
awards.
Oscar. This man deserves an Oscar, my president.
But when
he's in the wrong profession.
Yeah.
In fact, he said, I think we want to retire him soon so that we can dispatch him to America or somewhere. This man, he should be in those places to act, because he's a good actor. The way he was praying, you can think he's so holy.
Come on, he just wanted the government to run. That's what he wanted. That's his prayer.
When he's surrounded by incompetent and corrupt people, how can you perform? When you are a liar, you lie from morning to evening. Evening to morning. How can you succeed?
Let's get into today's conversation. We're talking about President William Ruto at 2. Well, his past 2 years have been crazy with fake fertilizers to Gen Z protests, actually the biggest protests we've had in this country. The exchange rates are scare in the country that had to be subsided by, Eurobonds and rearrangement of payment plans. And you look at the conversation now in the country between him and his deputy. Why isn't he able to deal with corruption yet? Why isn't he able to deal with this political tension? He has been forced to do something he said he will not do, bring a broad-based government, actually bring Raila Odinga on board. Well, I'm here with Philip Kisia, and this is our conversation for today from 13th of September 2022. Let's start with this bottom-up economic model. This is what he said will transform this country. And you're looking at things now, the cost of living is still high. Why hasn't the president dealt with this, what he said he will deal with as soon as he took office, the economic challenges?
I don't know why Kenyans were expecting so much from President William Ruto. Because the president has never, he's never been truthful. That is his nature. That is William Ruto. William Ruto has never known to be a good performer at work. So, and then he still has the hangabouts of the old constitution. He forgets that now we are operating under a completely new dispensation where people are being held to account. He is still in the Kanu. He is still a Kanu youth winger, that thing. He is operating as if we are in the Kanu era, where there was no accountability, where there was no transparency, where people are not questioned. He forgets he is not the master, but what? The servant. I want to remind my good friend and president, once more, you are the servant of the people of Kenya and you're not the boss. And you must listen. You must listen to Kenyans. Let me get back to this thing you're calling bottom
He has fallen short of many
expectations. Let me, Jed, let's talk about this bottom-up thing you're talking about. I have told you it's not even bottom-up. It is what? Top-bottom.
Yeah.
Because the people at the bottom have been crushed. They are dead. Actually, they are dead. Most of them have been buried. Others are in the morgue. So they don't exist. They stopped existing the day William Ruto put down the Bible. He took the Bible. He was sworn by the Bible. He was given the sword. So he threw away the Bible. He is now holding the sword. That's what he's holding. So there's nothing like bottom up. It is top bottom. Now, let me tell you, this bottom up thing was born to fail. It was a very, very bad experiment that Ruto tried to, it was an experiment on the people of Kenya. When you are taking up a huge corporation, a country like Kenya is a huge corporation. You don't just introduce new things as an experiment, things that have never been tested anywhere. Maybe things that his advisors have just read in the books and they think they can work. If you find something that is working, even not 100%, it is working somehow, what you should do as a good manager is to find ways and means of making it better. You don't start from zero. What I keep on referring to, the zero mentality approach to management. That you want to start from zero. Look at health, you want to start from zero. Look at revenue collection, he wants to start from zero. Look at education, he wants to start from zero. He wants to start from zero. And you see now he has now discovered that time is running out. Because of this zero mentality approach. You are starting from zero.
There's shift, there's the new funding model.
There are so many things. Everything is new. You found the education thing working.
Yeah.
You want to bring yours. Okay? Why can't you make what you found better, let it work, then you can introduce yours at a certain stage. But you want to introduce everything new at the same time. There are two things that I can only pick from there. Number one, that Ruto had planned to fail. That's number one. Number two, which is most likely, that he has no capacity to manage a
Wait,
country. He has no capacity.
How can someone plan to fail?
He has planned to fail because you see the things that he's doing. You see, when you are given an exam, and even you are given answers, instead of taking the answers and just marking the answer, you are told this is the answer. Instead of marking, you introduce another answer.
But what interest would it be for him to fail? Why would
I
he?
don't know. Ask him. Maybe you should call him for an interview because what he has, Jed, if he had not planned to fail, if he had not planned to fail, the only other thing that I can imagine he had come to do, or he cannot do, he has no capacity to manage.
Yeah.
He has no capacity to manage because it's a huge thing. William Ruto has not even managed a kiosk. So sometimes I think that the thing is too heavy. The load is extremely heavy. But let me get back to your point about this bottom-up thing. Why has it failed? It has failed because it was introduced in an economy that had just started picking up. Then he has killed the economy. So the economy is not working. How can it work? How can the bottom thing work when the middle to up is not functioning? You need middle class and upper class, okay, to generate taxes to support the people at the bottom. They are the ones who run the economy. Look at the companies, Jed, that have been operating in this country. And for how long? For many years. How many companies have closed down? So we have actually dealt a blow on production. This country is not producing anymore. We have been turned into a consumption economy. We're not producing anything. Okay? So, and then therefore the other challenge that of course that Ruto faced because of his own making, okay? Yeah. It is a shock he introduced into the political arena. He destabilized the political arena by fighting his deputy, by fighting everybody. He was fighting Uhuru Kenyatta, fighting his own deputy, fighting his ghosts, fighting I don't know who. He fought everybody, okay? And in the process of fighting this, when you have political instability, of course now he tried fighting Raila. He discovered that he's not a man who can fight. He's fighting Raila. The economy came crashing, okay? And therefore, the experiment he came up with, this thing called bottom-up, will not work. It cannot work because it has no foundation. It has zero foundation.
Did Kenyans buy the empty coffers statements from the deputy and the
president? You see, that statement was coming from people who are naive, people who are stupid. A country, an economy, a government collects revenue, collects taxes. Those taxes are not put in a bank somewhere. As you are collecting taxes, as you are collecting revenue, that money is spent to generate more revenue, to run government, to fund projects. So there is no time you will find a government, any government in the world, that has collected, because you collect and spend. Why are you collecting? You are not collecting to put somewhere in a sack. You are collecting to fund a government. Therefore, government works, government keeps on rolling. There is no government that will come. Now even him, he has been there for 2 years. Can he tell us the reserves that he has created in the last 2 years? Let us start with him. He could have spoken, and he was talking the way the coffers were empty. Can he now tell us, Kenyans, how much money we have in our reserves from his own effort? Can he tell us? We are more broke. This country is so broke. This country is in the red. This country is finished.
As we talk about that, we talk about the promise they gave us, that what we saw with Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto will not be William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. Because we are looking at governance, but there's a lot of political tension in the country. We saw during Chege yesterday, I believe, coming out and endorsing Kithure Kindiki. What impact will this bring in the governance of William Ruto now that we are seeing politics, him against the deputy?
You know, I've always thought that William is a shrewd politician. Maybe, but maybe we were, gave him too much credit for nothing. He must understand that he's no longer a youth winger. a KANU youth winger. He needs to appreciate that he is the president and commander-in-chief of the Republic of Kenya. And by encouraging division in the country, in the government, he's causing tension. And when you're causing this tension, there is bound to be internal instability, political instability, and therefore the economy will do what? Will be affected.
Yeah.
When the economy is affected, okay, because of paralysis and poor governance, policies, government policies will definitely, and progress will be affected. Because there's a team that will owe allegiance to Rigathi. Those who are smart, particularly from Central Province. The ones who want to be re-elected will say, no, wait a minute. Let's align with, because the ground in Central Province, some people may disagree, but I can tell you, from where I sit, the ground in Central Province is with Rigathi. So those who are smart would want to align themselves. Those who want to be re-elected. But those who want to line their pockets are lining themselves with William.
Is this the case you're saying with the 48 MPs who are aligning with Kindiki?
Of course. Some of them came up and said, wait a minute. We were promised 200. We are only given 50. Okay?
Yeah.
So the president needs to be a bit careful.
Yeah.
Because what about the public confidence? What this disunity that is creating, tension that is creating, do you think that public will have confidence in his government? Do you even think that the international community, people want to invest in this country, will have confidence in this economy, will have confidence in his leadership? Do you see them coming here? Do you see them coming here to invest in a country that is not stable politically, that you are not sure whether your investment is secure today and tomorrow and in future? He has really sparked and started off, William Ruto, he has started off the 2027 campaign too early. Okay?
You're already there.
We're already in 2027 because now he's already worried about re-election because he's so desperate to be re-elected as president because he knows that whoever takes over from him in 2027 will teach him a few lessons.
Oh.
Because of the bad things he has done. Extrajudicial killings, corruption. Okay? Our children have just disappeared. Up to now, many of them have not been found. Some of them are still lying in the morgues. Some of them have not been accounted for. So I can tell you, Jed, that Ruto is so desperate to be re-elected so that he probably can buy time and probably make corrections if Kenyans allow him, but I doubt that will happen. Ruto is on his way out. In fact, his worry should be whether he will last until 2020. In fact, I was listening to some other video, another religious leader, just today, and the man predicted that President William Ruto will not last beyond April, I think, is it April 2025. So maybe maybe William needs to look for this religious leader. And maybe, I don't know, maybe this guy has spoken to God. Yeah. Maybe he has seen some light. I don't know.
We'll talk about that. But we've talked about two things that are very interesting. Our confidence, we'll circle back and talk about how we can rebuild confidence. But also our children are in the morgue, you said. You see, this Gen Z protest was a big shock to the country. Nobody expected what we saw in Parliament. And once they came up with this broad-based government, they tried to convince the country that we are now forming an inclusive government. We're not talking about shareholders anymore. But I want to know, could Ruto have handled the situation better without the involvement now of Raila Odinga?
You see, Ruto has partially succeeded. Because, he has partially succeeded, but there is still growing criticism. Okay? He has brought in what is called a broad-based government by dealing with issues to do with ethnicity. You know, lawyers were not in this government properly. They were not inside.
Come on, you are
They were not inside.
You are a speaker.
Okay?
Yeah.
But he has now added from this other side. Okay? He has added the likes of Oparanya. Okay? To make it appear as if now, you know, lawyers, you can't. Then he has, Coast had been forgotten. He has brought in somebody from Coast. Then, you know, he's tried. He has Nyanza. Nyanza, you know, a place that, you know, he dared step into Nyanza. But he brought in people from Nyanza. Badi.
Yeah.
And I'm told the suits are not fitting him. I don't know why. I know there's a tailor. I don't know the tailor. Or,
you know, you don't have to be petty sometimes.
It's not being, this is on social media. But you see, no, listen, Jed. It's a serious matter. You see, maybe you could just be seeing somebody shrinking.
Can we talk about
Somebody could be shrinking. And because the pressure of work, I'm telling you, I've been in these offices.
Talk to
you
me,
can shrink.
Let's get
so,
to Gen
now,
Z.
let Jed. So, this broad-based government has succeeded to that extent. He has cool things. But what was the Gen Z looking for? Was the Gen Z looking for some tribal appointments, some ethnic balancing, some regional balancing? The Gen Z was saying, listen, there's corruption. Has Ruto made an attempt to deal with corruption? No. Absolute no. They were saying there are no jobs. We are graduates. Instead of now providing, okay, he shot a few of them, or rather his security agencies shot and killed and maimed. They were saying we have no jobs. We're in the streets because we have no jobs. So if the question is, has he provided jobs for them? The answer is no. The jobs that the man is talking about even don't exist. Even the ones he's talking about in Germany, 250,000. The Germans say these jobs don't exist. And even the ones he's talking about in Saudi Arabia or in Middle East, he's talking about some jobs. Those are not jobs. When you are talking about, you know, employing, and you are saying our HR is so robust, that's what he said. We have an HR which is robust, highly qualified, the best in the world, which is true. But then you are exporting them to go and clean toilets in Middle East. You're exporting them to be watchmen. You're exporting them to be cooks, not even chefs, cooks. You know, what sort of jobs are you giving our people? Is that the best you can do for our people? Even the ones he's talking about, the cooks, cleaners, don't even exist. We've been told. Germany has said these things don't exist. It was a pipe dream coming from a president. He is just they said he's a joker. The Germans have said this man's a joker, big joker.
So how could he
you see,
Yes.
so he still has to deal with the issue of the youth. This thing of having political patronage is not going to work anymore. 70% of the youth do not appreciate the action he has taken. They want jobs and they want proper jobs. For heaven's sake, don't send our children to Middle East as cooks, watchmen, and cleaners.
You know, you talked also about confidence, and there's a lot of mistrust when it comes to the president saying this and Kenyans believing. There's a soundbite that has been running on people's minds over the past couple of months, has been a Latif from Spice when he looked at the president and asked him, are you tone deaf? How can the president deal with this perception that he's not hearing and we cannot really believe what he says?
You see, you know, I would have doubted him if he was a man who partakes, because we know he drinks milk and water and juice. But when things come out of his mouth, you start asking yourself so many questions. Is he okay? Is he of sound mind? If he were in America, we would have insisted on him going for a medical checkup. If we were in America, we would have said no. Because the things that are coming out of his mouth do not sit in very well. Those are things that should not come from a head of state. Because even when he was in Germany, look at when he was being asked about the children who died, 20 children who died and what have you, some have been injured. Then he said, oh, you know what? That's why I'm in here, I'm in Germany. They were complaining about jobs. They were not complaining about, yes, that was one of the things. And those joblessness is as a result of what? Corruption. There's so much corruption. People don't want to come and invest in this country. And even those who have already invested are leaving this country. They cannot stomach the level of corruption in this country. So, but you see, again, Kenyans, why are you surprised that Ruto would lie? And that is his nature. Why are you surprised? Look at when he's asked anything, he would divert. When he's asked about extrajudicial killings, he's talking about jobs. Okay?
Yeah.
When he's asked about police brutality, he's talking about, I'll be going to Japan next week to look for jobs, to look for investors. When he's asked about brain drain, he's saying, oh, you know, they are going to bring us dollars. These people are going to bring us dollars. You know, then even the jobs don't exist. They are fake jobs.
So should we expect anything when it comes
this
to
man is
trusting him?
No, how can you trust him? Jed, he's a promoter of lies. He is a promoter of brutality. He is a promoter of brain drain. He is a promoter of extrajudicial killings. He is you know, everything of his is fake. Contrast with Emilio Mwai Kibaki. Just contrast. Emilio says, no, we need you back here. We must build our nation. We must build our country. Let's forget about the past. Don't ask about who did what and what. No, let's move forward. This man has a bad habit. Rear view mirror.
Before we wind up, maybe you can tell me this. The president actually said the failure is on their part when it comes to communication. When he was asked this question, he said that they are trying to do something, but their government is not communicating well. How can they build that bridge between, you know, policy vis-a-vis public perception? Because this is very interesting. Kenyans are thinking, well, you're saying you're doing something, but what are you doing? We cannot see it. Can you tell us?
You know, Jed, trust is something that you have to build. And when people lose trust, it is normally very hard to regain it. So I don't know what magic President Ruto will use to regain people's trust. Because everything he has said from the time he took over has been lies, falsehood. He talked about reducing taxes. Immediately came in, he increased the taxes. That came from his mouth, not yours, not mine. He talked about creating jobs when he was campaigning. Immediately took over, he started coming with policies that sent away the investors. He talked about, making sure that there are no extrajudicial killings. Immediately, he took over, we started having the problem. He talked about independence of institutions, the judiciary. The only thing that he did was, of course, to do what constitutionally he was required to do, like increasing their budget. You know, it was not a favor. That's what he's required to do. Signing off the judges, employing more judges. That is what he is constitutionally required to do. But after that, look at what he was dangling a carrot. Look at what he's trying to do to the judiciary. He has boxed Parliament. Parliament is completely under his control. Police is not independent, completely under his control. Correct? The executive is completely under his control. The only institution left, ethics and anti-corruption, DCI, everybody is under his control. Even the religious bodies are under his control. You've seen he's already back in church giving them cash, and they're accepting that cash without asking him, this money that you brought, is it clean money? They're just accepting the money. Okay?
So what should he do? Because he has alienated himself from the public. It seems like you cannot listen to him.
No, Jed, I don't have an answer. You're asking me what can he do?
Yes.
The man has destroyed himself.
Beyond
Completely.
repair.
He is beyond any repair. He is completely finished. He has destroyed himself.
Yeah.
And even when the Gen Z gave him an opportunity to repair himself, he refused to repair himself.
So,
He has gone back to his old habits
Yeah.
of creating confusion.
Yeah.
He's gone back.
Then maybe because you're not helping him, you don't want to help him, or if there's nothing he can do, how would you grade as we wind up his performance over the past 2 years? And how can he maintain whichever grade you're going to give him or improve on that particular grade?
Jed, why you seem to know what I'm going to...
I've
you
asked
asked
you
me to grade.
Either to maintain or to improve.
Jed,
you can give him an A,
you
I
see,
don't know.
Jed, you know, I am not known to give people marks for free. That one I don't do. I'm strict when it comes to marking exams. But with all fairness, because I must assess the entire environment, operating environment, and all the efforts that he has put in.
And being fair.
I am being very fair. I give him a C-. And I'm being very fair. In fact, I have been very generous. Look at this. Can you say that the economy is performing?
No.
The economy is on its knees. Can you say that he has fought corruption? Can you say?
No.
Can you say that he has brought down the cost of living? Can you say? He promised people, when he was campaigning, not you, not me, he said, by the time the Bible is down, Unga at 70, petrol at 100. Can he show us the petrol stations where they are selling petrol at 100? To date, I bought petrol at 180 something per litre. He's still over 80 something shillings off the mark. Unga is at 130 something, 140. He's still 70 bob off the mark. So in fact, that's what I'm saying, Jed, that I've been very, very generous.
So,
then you see,
yeah.
he said he'll create jobs. That, you know, Uhuru Kenyatta was there since State House, taking the juices that me and you take,
Yeah.
and therefore he's not performing, he's not working.
Yeah.
When he takes over, he will start working. Has he created any jobs? He keeps on talking about Kisia Mujengo, affordable housing. There are no jobs there.
Yeah.
What jobs?
So if you give
He
him
talks
a,
about it, the man just a liar.
if you give him a C and
He's
not an
a C-,
E,
not a C, C-.
a C- and not an E, that means there's something he has done well somewhere. What is that thing?
In Jed, I'm saying that I've assessed the entire environment.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm just, also to encourage him so that I don't want to be so hard on him.
Yeah.
I would have, and a C- is bordering a D.
Yeah.
It's not a very good score.
Yeah.
It's bordering a D.
Yeah.
You can't say you've done very well. What he needs to do, my president, is to sit down, re-examine himself, and the things that his predecessors had done, let him get them back on board and start implementing. I've seen now Linda Mama is back. He had tried throwing it, together. I've seen it is back. I've seen him making reference to Vision 2030. I've seen him. So let him stop introducing new things, new projects. Let him pick from where his predecessors left and move on.
Okay.
Okay? Let him not start from zero. His attempt to start from zero has completely got him crashing.
All right.
He is crashing. He does not have money to support the budget. He does not have the taxes, these illegal taxes that he has collected. In fact, the man is in trouble because the courts ruled that the finance bill of 2023, 2020, they're illegal. How is he going to refund Kenyans the money that he took from them illegally? He needs to refund that money.
Well,
He must refund.
what a place to wrap up. President William Ruto at 2. What do you think? How would you grade him? Are you giving him a C- as Kisia? Do you think he's at a B? Some say he's actually at an E. But Kisia, just as always, it's always good to leave our audience with a word of encouragement this time round.
You see, there are two things that I want, you'll allow me to do,
Yeah.
Jed, as we close.
Yes.
There is a message that I got from father from Uganda. I got it today, Father Andrew. And he said, it is a high time that you people help to rid Kenya of the politics of deceit and take it back to the politics of values and morals that our political fathers stood for. That is a message that Father Andrew asked me to read for all Kenyans to, to appreciate that there are people who care for this country, there are people who are listening to us, and there are people who are praying for this country. But in closing, Jed, I know I've said this, but I'll say it again. Mr. President, you are my friend. Stop this Adani thing. Stop it. Your employers, who are the Kenyan people, have said the thing is stinking. Why are you hell-bent on pushing it through? If you must bring strategic investors, why can't you bring guys from places that are respected, companies that are respected, companies that have experience, companies that have money to invest? Why are you pushing this thing? We're even shocked now learning that they also want to take our ports, they want to take our, health insurance, they want to take, energy sector.
Yeah.
Why? Even if you must steal, as Kibaki would have said, you need some little intelligence. You are lacking in intelligence. So this Adani thing must stop. The other thing is that, there's that clip, or just look for that Orango clip.
Yeah.
There's a clip where Orango was saying that we must run away from this man called Ruto.
So, where is Ruto going to take us? Ruto is taking us into a sinking ship. And I'm urging everybody that joining Ruto is a disaster, is an abomination. It cannot work.
You've listened to that clip. Orango is actually saying, and I hope he has not changed his position, that President Ruto is taking us to a ditch. That President Ruto is going to destroy this nation. That we must not give him extra time to destroy our nation, so that we have nothing to bequeath our children. President Ruto is treating Kenyans with a lot of contempt. He is treating Kenyans like children. He is treating Kenyans the way he treats his children and his family. We are his employers. We are his bosses. He is not our boss, for heaven's sake. And Kenya, the title deed is not in your pocket, that you can dish it out the way you dish out eggs in Sugoi. Kenya belongs to Kenyans, 57 million. Yeah. Therefore, I must end by saying that because Ruto has failed, Kenyans should not allow him even to complete his term. We have lost confidence in him as Kenyans. The international community has lost confidence in him. He has failed to fight corruption. He has refused to bring down the cost of living. He is messing up education, which is the future of our children. Even Moi, who never went to school, never messed up with education. This man has gone to school, and he still wants to mess up the future of our children. We are not going to allow him. The man, under his leadership, children have died in mysterious circumstances. They have been maimed, they have been killed, they have been found in quarries. Some of them are in mortuaries. Some of them have disappeared. Extrajudicial killings have returned to this country. We must say no, and therefore, I think he must be asked to pack off and leave peacefully and leave the leadership of this country to people who can do a better job. And I'm there, and many other people are available for this job.
Thanks for tuning into that conversation, Philip Kisia, for 2027. That is actually his message. But until we do talk again, thanks for making time for us every single time. We appreciate you, Kisia. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.
What gives him the idea that he can do as he wishes? This is not his personal house, this is not so going. I think the president needs to stop being simplistic.
Is there a vacuum post-Raila?
Play one clip where Ruto has spoken truthfully.